So when we talk about the distance between 2 points, sometimes it's nice to fine tune and talk about the midpoint, the middle of those 2 points. So the halfway point, the midpoint, the middle, you'll hear it called all of those different things. Midpoint is fairly straightforward if we take a breath and stop and think about what we're being asked to do. The middle of 2 numbers is going to be the average of those 2 numbers. So we're going to find the midpoint the same way we find the average. We're going to add the 2 x values together, then divide by 2. We're going to add the 2 y values together and divide by 2. Okay. So here is our midpoint formula. Ooh, not red. Seems a little brutal. And we are going to apply that here in example 6. We want the midpoint of the line segments where the endpoints are -2, -1, -8, 6. So our midpoint, sometimes we'll see that capital N, means I'm going to add my x coordinates together. Again, I'm going to wrap my -8 in parentheses because I really don't want that plus minus thing happening. And I've got -1 plus 6. Not so worried about it there since they're both positive. I will usually write out more work than you will, and that is perfectly fine. I just want to make sure if you look away for a minute, when you come back, you haven't missed anything. So -10/2 is -5, 5/2. I prefer fractions. You could write this as a decimal, but 2 1/2 is the way I'm going to go. 2.5 is fine. Down to our last piece, writing the equations of circles in standard form. As I went through this last semester with students, I talked about the fact that some had forgotten how to complete the square, so that they could write this equation in standard form. So you will notice there is an additional page. It says an addendum to the 2.1 notes, and that will walk you through completing the square if what we do here is not enough, okay? So we have the diameter of a circle with endpoints at -6, 15 and +4, -9. Those endpoints of that diameter is going to run straight across the circle right through the center. So that center, HK is our center, is going to be our midpoint here. I've got my x coordinates, -6 plus 4. And I've got my y, 15 plus -9. -6 plus 4, -2/2, 15 plus 9, +6/2. So I get a center at -1, 3. And so let me color code here. HK is the center of the circle. Here is my center, -1, 3. Okay, guess I didn't read the equation. We'll come back up and read the equation there in a minute. Might as well do it now. So here's the equation, standard form of the equation of a circle. We've got x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. HK is the center of our circle, r is the radius. We found the center, we now need to find the radius. Okay. So I could use the 2 points that they gave us, find that distance and cut it in half. I could use the center that I just found, hoping that I did not make a mistake, and the distance to one of those points and use that to find the radius. So I think I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to find a radius. Using our center, which we said was -1, 3, and the point on the circle, which one do I want to use? -6, 15? Sure, let's use that one. -6, 15. Okay, and so we write this as the distance formula You guys, we're really finding the radius, so I'm going to label it R. I could plug in the formula here. Research says that the more you can write down, the better off you're going to be. The more you can allow your eyes to visually process for you, the less work your brain has to do, less chance we're going to make a mistake. So there's the point on the circle, that -6 minus the x-coordinate for our center is -1. We're going to square that plus y sub 2, the y that goes with that x is 3. We're going to square these so it doesn't really matter what order we subtract in. Just kind of a good idea to make sure we are not doing anything funky and we're always subtracting the same direction. So I get -6 minus -1. -6 plus 1 is -5. 15 minus 3 is 12. Square root of 25 plus 144, which is the square root of 169, which is 13. Our radius is 13. And so now I'm going to go back up and just plug into the equation we were given. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it down here. X minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. I know my h from above is -1. That is the x-coordinate of the center. I know my k from above is 3. That's the y-coordinate of the center. I know my radius is 13. We just found that. Of course, I don't want to leave it written like that. We're going to write this as x plus 1 quantity squared plus y minus 3 quantity squared equals 169. I am not going to multiply out that x plus 1 and the y minus 3 squared. No reason to do it. Just looking at this, I know that it is the equation of a circle. And we're done.